Here is how Aussies are currently searching for things online. If you're not doing it, you're wasting time. If you're a business and you're not on top of this, you're missing out on clients, leads, and just showing up generally. A lot has changed. A lot is changing every single month. So if you are a plumber in Bondi, generally speaking, if I'm looking for a plumber in Bondi, a couple of months ago, 12 months ago, a couple of years ago, I would have just typed in plumber in Bondi. I would have opened up a bazillion tabs and I would have checked some Google reviews. I would have probably called a few plumbers. I would have clicked on a whole bunch of websites that probably weren't mobile optimized. I would have wasted a bunch of time. I would have spent a couple of hours potentially and called a plumber. Look, I would have made the decision pretty quickly myself. How that's changed now is instead of someone searching for a plumber in Bondi and expecting that plumber to be a generalist to just understand what I want, a lot of the time they grab their ChatGPT, which is pretty much being dominated by Gemini at the moment, because Gemini is free with a lot of Google workspaces. It could be Claude, it could be Perplexity, but basically we're seeing conversational queries. I am in need of an emergency plumber. I've got a raccoon stuck in my hot water system. So it's gonna fan out those queries from just plumber Bondi to, we're now looking for an emergency plumber in Bondi that can come out who is a raccoon specialist, who is licensed and can take crypto as a form of payment. Because that's how now people are searching. They're getting a bit more specific with their searches. And the issue with plumbers' websites is if your business doesn't explicitly answer all of those requirements somewhere on the websites, whether they're service pages, whether it's the About Us page, AI just won't consider you. Look at AI as just a convenient overlay onto conventional search engines, Bing and Google. At the end of the day, we're still at that state where your website, your publication, your asset, your LinkedIn, your Reddit account is the source of data, not necessarily the source of truth. But if that data is not optimized for the Google and Bing crawler, in other words, the AI crawlers to skim and find information about you easily, it's not going to consider you. So if you lift the hood of all of these AI terms, it's just basic standard SEO. Having text on your website that explains clearly what you do, where you are, what your experiences are, how trustworthy you are, prove to the world that you're an authority on the topic. Searching for a GP, for example, it would be previously GP near me, now it would be something like bulk billing GP that specializes in cat bites of the hand in Footscray, who does women's health, has Saturday appointments available and speaks Mandarins, right? So if your medical practice doesn't explicitly state we are a bulk bill clinic, we have Saturday appointments only, and Mr. Dr. Chen speaks fluent Mandarin, then your clinic is just going to miss out mentioning women's health or specialist in raccoon bites or whatever it is that you guys specialize in. So it's not that AI and search engines will hide you, it's just that there's a really cool, let me see if I can find this analogy image. Here we go. If the competitor has all of the things on the websites, we just need to outrun the next person. So if our website has mentioned that our doctors speak Mandarin, our plumber specializes in hot water systems, and the next competitor does not, you win. You'll get the visibility then and there. So it's just about mentioning on your site that you do all of the things. So this bloke isn't too fast. I can see that he's not a really fit dude. It's just this guy's fallen over. So the other guy doesn't even need to run anymore because this guy is the one that's going to get collected by the bear. I'm pretty sure this is a fake image, but I love this analogy because everything with SEO, AI SEO, Google is a cost of entry to market. see how many other competitors are currently doing that thing. What are they doing? They're building out a whole bunch of dedicated specific pages on that one specific thing. Plumbing and raccoon electrical services, whatever that niche thing that actually gets searched. So another example might be mortgage broking, or someone's looking for a mortgage broker in Brisbane. Previously they type in mortgage broker in Brisbane or mortgage broker near me. Sure, we want to show up for those queries, but now the way I'm seeing, looking at the data, the way people are searching is, I need a mortgage broker that's helping people with disabilities get a loan, right? Very specific request. So having a dedicated page on disability assistance lender or something like that, whether it's a dedicated page or a comment, will put you into the running of such a thing. So this is why for the last 15 years, especially the last 10, all of my websites literally have a dedicated page for of course, every service offering, but also industry specific pages, accountants for plumbers. And that has nowadays unique content specific to the plumbers and their requirements from accounting. 15 years ago and even 10 years ago, it was literally just a duplicated page saying accounting services for plumbers, and then the rest of the content was more or less the same, and it just says we do accounting for plumbers and bookkeeping and BAS and PAYG, and you could pretty much just duplicate that. I made software that does that, and it just rolls out hundreds of these pages. You can't do that anymore. So what I do currently is I will interview the accountant and will specifically talk about their services for plumbers, but not so much their services that they offer. What kind of challenges do they help plumbers solve? What kind of advice can we give plumbers from the accounting perspective? Obviously keep on top of your receipts, all of those things that the accountant genuinely helps with on a day-to-day basis. This is why I will meet the accountant, I will interview them, we'll have a list of questions, and all of those questions help the accountant prove to the World Wide Web why they are an authority on the space. So general websites that just have your 3 or 4 or 5 pages with minimal content, not seeing the light of Google, well, they never did anyway. They're good as business cards websites. So I guess who gets a call out of the 2 mortgage brokers, one that specifically talks about those first home buyers, that talks about the banks and average settlement days less than 30 days. Not many mortgage brokers will mention that. It's just, I'm a mortgage broker, I am experienced, and here I am, contact me. You throw that website in with 1,000 other mortgage brokers, and guess who AI is going to choose? The one that explicitly says average settlement is 21 days, 25 lenders available, first home buyer specialist, accredited with blah, 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 and so forth. So the action points. I can't even speak England today. Wins over generic. This isn't AI SEO. It's just plain English. You must clearly list every service you offer. I would go as far as building a dedicated page for every service that you offer. I would go next level. I would interview yourself, answering most common problems you solve and how you solve them, and give advice on potentially people solving it themselves. At the end of the day, you're not going to set up your own self-managed super fund because my mum, the tax lawyer, has given you a checklist on how to set up an SMSF. You're still going to go through an accountant, and you need to have it audited and multi-accountants and things like that. You're not going to set up your own, trust. You're not going to do your own heart transplant just because a surgeon explained how it's done. Don't be afraid to share your knowledge to the World Wide Web, because that just sets you up as an authority on the topic. So clearly list every service you offer, every credential you hold, and every specific problem you solve. If your website doesn't explicitly state that you accept these credit cards, payments, Saturday appointments, or you speak fluent Mandarins, AI just won't consider you in that running, because at the end of the day, AI just wants to get to the answer as quickly as possible without hallucinating. It won't need to hallucinate this if there are competing websites with easily accessible text, so skimmable text basically. Move beyond generic keywords. AI now asks complex, multi-layered questions. If you ever open up your console F12 on Google, on a Google search, and you click through a few inspect options, you can actually see in the code that when you ask ChatGPT this question, it actually spits out these multi-layered questions. And that's what helps it find what you hopefully want. Right? The best way I can explain it is previously you would have gone to a library and there's a section there about cooking, and you ask the librarian, where's the section about cooking? I want to learn how to make salad for Vietnamese Madagascan immigrants. The librarian would have been like, over there. In other words, a standard Google search with 10 blue links, and you just go through the pages and try not to click your way through all of the ads that are haunting you now with pixel retargeting. What AI does is that receptionist literally just says, hold on a minute, you stay here, and they quickly skim through and find not only the books that specialize in Madagascan, what did I say, Thai cuisine, I've lost, whatever. They give you the snippets, they give you the answers, but if they can't find that quick enough, unfortunately I'm seeing AI hallucinate, make shit up, and a lot of the time get things wrong. That will get better with time as the systems and servers get stronger. That will eventually be cleaned up, because right now SEOs are having a good time with publishing a whole bunch of truthful, untruthful, whatever content online, which is getting cited. And I talk about this a lot. So moral of the story, understand how the current ways that people are searching and what a business should do from a marketing perspective, from a website perspective, from a social media perspective. The omnipresent effect is working better than ever before. I've always been a big believer of having multiple sources of traffic coming from Facebook, from Google, naturally publishing across as many platforms as you can, which is how Google considers a natural progression of a brand. And so in simple terms, it's like backlinks coming from other platforms. Reddit, LinkedIn, publishing on LinkedIn. A lot of the time, the business owner can handle that by just recording themselves talking about the thing and having that content syndicated across multiple platforms. When it goes onto YouTube, YouTube uses the transcript from that video, and it will actually show that video up to potential searches on Google, not just YouTube, but also associate your website with the content of that YouTube channel. So if you're talking about that hot water replacement when a raccoon was stuck in it or something like that, guess what? Your website will be considered, especially if it has a dedicated page on raccoon hot water replacement systems. Hope this helps. Let me know if you have any questions.